Okay, Brian, you are
Yeah.
good to start us off.
Perfect. It is, according to my watch, 3:02 p.m. on January 14th, 2025. And we are officially calling to order this regular meeting of the Moab Area Travel Council Advisory Board. With that, it looks like we do have quorum. So let's start off with the agenda. First thing on the agenda is citizens to be heard. Are there any citizens to be heard or online? No? Okay. Let's move into discussion and action items. Let's start with board member reports. Rebecca, how about we start with you?
Rebecca Monso, board member, sales manager of Element Moab. It's slow. There's not much to report for me.
Fair enough. Alex, how about you?
They're closed.
Hi. Yep. Yeah, we're closed. We did have a good ending to our year though. Christmas week was a strong week. I certainly feel that the Asian international crowd has returned to Moab previous to
COVID.
the pandemic. So that was really good to see, and I feel like every year is a little bit different where Christmas and New Year's gonna fall on different days of the week, right? This year was a little bit midweek, so it was. I feel like it was two pretty strong weeks of activity instead of maybe just one week. Where if Christmas and New Year's are on the weekend, then it's usually like just one big week. But if they're both set up in like the middle of the week, then the week before and the week after, there's quite a bit of activity. And I feel like we could have been, if we had kept the business open and restaurants open into January that first weekend, we would have seen some pretty good business. I saw quite a few folks in town and cars everywhere around the hotels and activity. So next year, I think we will, try to be open maybe into January for that first weekend and capitalize a little bit. Certainly, the Thai restaurant next to us, Singha, they got crushed those couple of days around Christmas. So there's definitely a lot of folks in town, and if people are there, just if you could plan for it, I think we could plan for it next year. So it's really good to see. And yeah, other than that, we are closed until February. So we're looking forward to our Valentine's Day and President's Day weekend. It's the next big weekend on the horizon. So in the meantime, I'm in Florida, as you can see some palm trees. Visiting with my parents for a few days and getting out of the cold for a minute. So that's all I've got to report right now.
I love that you and I are like the yin and yang. I've got snow all around me. You got palm trees in your background. Well, enjoy your vacation, buddy. Well deserved.
Thanks.
Let's move on to Lori.
Hi. Our guys are back to work as of last week. They took a break when the kids go to have a school break. We try to be closed, or not really. We're closed. We've obviously been closed, but they take a little bit of a break and go on to their various vacations, and they're back to work and just preparing for the season. I'm curious if out with Alex and the restaurant group, if he thinks there'd be an appetite for restaurants to stay open rather than close in the winter time. If there's traffic there and we're doing this strong winter marketing, do you think there's an appetite for business owners to stay open just for the restaurant perspective?
Yeah, I think so. Now that we know that people are trending back to Moab in the wintertime, and we see some strong winter contingent and internationals, especially. I think that's. I don't know if it was just the Asian restaurants. Maybe we could look around at some of the other restaurants. I feel like they were all had a pretty good bump for the Christmas and New Year's season. And yeah, if we were going to do a full on like winter campaign, I think really getting the word out to local restaurants that, hey, we are going to push people to come back for the winter and, consider opening X amount of time, especially for, just those holidays like Christmas Day, when people are here in the town and they want to do something and go out to eat and there's, limited places, then those other places get overwhelmed a little bit. So it would take some communication, and I think it's definitely worth it. I do feel like in the past, Moab is really kind of the wintertime and slight off seasons of the winter is really been dependent on the ski season and like the winter and how it's going. And those regional tourists, whether they're like deciding to ski for the weekend or there's no snow in the mountains and they feel like going jeeping or hiking, it's a little bit different every year, and that's one thing you can't really predict. Besides, putting a full-on campaign out and trying to get people there. But yeah, I'd love to be open for the winter. We have people that will want to work, instead of pushing people onto unemployment. I think it's some of those big restaurants on Main Street, they'll close for a week or two for some deep cleaning, and then it's kind of back to skeleton crew and just kind of, they may or may not make money, but at least they got cash flow and they're open for the public. So it's definitely something to consider, and I think everyone is up for it. If we know that there's a chance of having people in town, I think business owners are going to be down for that.
Right on.
Ashley, are you there?
Here I am.
Hard to see the whole room on my monitor.
I'm for the moment representing the chamber, and just on the note that you were mentioning, Alex, the chamber was thinking about launching some kind of campaign for Electric Light Parade weekend. It's just an idea that we're kicking around that would be kind of, would people be interested in inviting people to come to Moab, and could we do like sidewalk sales and make Main Street kind of really busy and make it like a little festival kind of a thing. And that would be a way to introduce to people, to remind people that Moab can be really fun in the winter, and sort of kick off that whatever. I'm sorry, I just got here. But so I didn't hear the beginning of your, but I think so that's something that we're going to be asking that question here pretty soon in the chamber, and so it'll be good to get input and see what you guys think and how we go about that.
Got it. Okay. Anything else, Ash?
I got elected president of the chamber, and
Congratulations.
sort of.
Or condolences, depending on how you want to see it.
No, it's exciting. There's a lot of stuff to catch up on, but we're doing it, and we're looking at going beyond just events and trainings and looking at sort of actually economic development initiatives. More on that later, and we'll see if we can find some stuff that people want to work on that could make a difference.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Well, congratulations.
Thanks.
Let's go around the table. Sharon.
Hi. So for 2020, I just wanted to let everyone know for 2024, the visitation at Arch is inside the visitor center. I know there's been a lot being said about timed entry, but inside the visitor center, our visitation was up 6%. The MIC visitation ended up the year up 3%, and January, both places are up.
Oh, cool.
So we're having a really good January, a huge December, and a really good January so far. So those are our numbers that we're getting. I don't know where all the other things are coming from about timed entry, but it is not hurting the visitation inside the visitor center at Arches. So. That's
Or
about it.
down here either, right? Not heard about down here.
Thanks for the reminder. I need to get those numbers from you. Keep storing them. Thank you.
Awesome, good to hear. Miss McGann, how about you?
Okay, I want to start by saying that Brian Martinez will be taking over my position as liaison on the Travel Council. And I just want to say it's been an honor to be part of the Travel Council. I was trying to think, I think I've been serving close to 10 years, at least 8 or 9. I came on when Elaine came on, right during the boom, when the town was just furious about the number of tourists coming in. I remember the city and county having a meeting. I felt so sorry for Elaine because here she was brand new on the job. And she's having to explain to everyone in town why TRT tax can't be used to build roads, and why can't we use TRT tax to build houses, and why can't we use, I felt so sorry for her. I mean, it was like she came here to promote tourism, and the majority, at that time, the loud scream in town was, don't promote us anymore. So she was a joy. I really enjoyed working under Elaine. And then August, and that was, for the brief period of time, and it started with Elaine, but then through a part of August's term, we had, where we had some monies for diversification. That is no longer an option. And it's just been interesting. It's been interesting watching the dynamics of the different boards as well. From boards that aren't involved, engaged, to show up and sit there and, goof off on their phone or do whatever they're doing, to boards that are very, very engaged. And I would say this is an engaged, good board. So thank you. Thank you all for serving. Thank everybody here that's here to apply for the position. It's an important board. I think, you're under the pressure of what the town wants. There was a time that there was a lot of pressure on the Travel Council to slow back, not advertise, do less. Now it's swung in the other direction. So I've seen it go from where it was, kind of normal, to not wanting it, to now wanting it again, which I would say was a little more on the normal side for PRT. So thank you, everyone. And I'm sure Brian is going to offer fresh eyes and new ways of looking at things. And I think that's always good. That's why I've supported term limits when we had them. I think there's some reason for it. And so, yes, thank you. And I'm sure I will hear the reports from Brian about the good work you guys are doing. Oh, and then I am excited because we talked about it last year, revisiting the responsible recreation ordinance or resolution for this. It was visited. I think it came up with, I was comfortable with the ways we changed it. I was expecting a different process. I was expecting the same process we went through when it was created, where we had a meeting with the Travel Council, we had a meeting with we had a workshop with the commission, and then, so it was a longer process, but at least that was one of the things we wanted to accomplish this year, was to do some tweaking on the resolution. Probably all resolutions, we'll probably do some tweaking again on it later. But hopefully the Travel Council is happier with the way it is now. So anyway, I'm handing the reins over to Brian.
I just want to say thank you for all you do.
Yeah.
I've been on this board too, off and on, over the many years, and I will say that you've been always here. You take these seriously, you come to these meetings, you take your position seriously on the commission, and it's very much appreciated.
Well, thank you.
All the time you put into it. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Mary.
You're welcome. Let
Yeah.
Brian take over.
Just going to echo what everyone's saying, what Jason was saying. Murray, thank you for your years of service. Thank you for your guidance and your support. It's been immeasurable, and it's been a joy working with you, and wishing you much more years of success. So,
Oh, thank you, thank you. And this board is a strong board, and it's going to be successful no matter what. And we're not a voting member, we just come to report. So thank you. Thank
There you go.
everyone.
all right, Jason, how about you?
Yeah, so kind of echoing what everybody else has to say, you know,
And welcome. Congratulations, by the way.
Me, congratulations. What did I get?
Oh, to Brian, sorry, Mr. Martinez.
But what did I do? So as far as the city goes, a couple things. We had our strategic planning last week where we spent 2 days in a room all together, just kind of coming up with our goals for the year. And one of the things that I kind of brought up that kind of piggyback on what Ashley was saying is that I really tried to ask or push for the city to really try to get involved and try to see in ways that we can step up the electric light parade. We can step up that whole winter weekend, you know, and I think people have kind of heard me comment before. It's like, man, this is the local time, you know, in Moab. This is where, you know, locals, you know, they rally around the electric light parade. You know, they rally around the turning on of the lights at Swanee Park, you know, and stuff. And so I kind of asked, you know, I'm like, hey, can we step this up? Can we step up the more lights? You know, can we step up, you know, more festivities, you know, during that time, and you know, and make it a Hallmark Christmas movie, you know, for one weekend for residents, because it really is the one time or the time of year where residents get together, you know, and stuff and do stuff together, you know, because they're not doing their things. And then part of that strategic plan too was that we really talked about was Main Street. What can we do to spruce up Main Street? You know, we did come up with a downtown master plan a few years ago, and it wasn't approved from the council at the time, but I think we kind of went through it. There's a lot of things in there that we could pull out and do, you know, whether it's, you know, taking and doing a block of sidewalk, you know, on Main Street to just make things kind of look a little bit better, whether it's, you know, doing what we can to spruce up downtown and make it more friendly for residents as well as visitors, you know, as well as other things that we can do with the town. I went and and then just to kind of talk about the winter, Christmas Eve, I went out and hiked Delicate Arch with my kids, and we hiked out there, and Delicate Arch was packed. You would have thought it was Memorial Day weekend. It was, there was not a place to sit and look at it. And it was awesome. It was great weather. You know, there wasn't ice anywhere on the trail, and it was full of people. And hiking up there, I think, like, we had some friends that were with us, and I think we were probably the only people speaking English going out there. I mean, it was cool. It was super cool. And so the parking lot was full when we got back, you know, and it was a great time. And we kind of had like the same discussion that Alex and Lori's kind of talking about, that the town was actually really full, you know, and that doing things to kind of expand on this would be kind of great. And we kind of wonder, like, where people are going to eat on Christmas Eve, where are they going to eat, you know, on Thanksgiving, you know, and stuff like that. And so anyway, that's basically all I have to report.
Mr. Martinez, how about you? Congratulations and welcome again.
Oh, thanks, Brian. And Brian, I was just passing on your note. Are you having trouble hearing us online? Is that what I saw from you in the chat?
No, that is not from me. I believe that is from Mr. Denise.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'd just like to reiterate, Mary, thanks so much. In 10 years, that's quite some time to lead this train. And
I don't think it was 10 years, because Jalen was on it for a minute.
Okay.
And then I got on it. I don't think it was.
We're gonna give it to you, 10 years.
Just say thank you.
That was fantastic. And then reporting from the commission, yeah, we did change the resolution on the advertising. I printed it out right here. Here's a fresh copy of how it did end up getting changed. You can go ahead and take those and pass them around. And yeah, that's where we're at. And hopefully we can kind of stick to that and maybe start changing some of that messaging to being a welcoming message, as well as still having the responsible recreation as that secondary message. Because it is important. That's all I got to report.
So I got, all right. Biga. You're muted, my love.
No, my finger just pushed it too many times. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. Congratulations, Mary. Thank you for everything. Congratulations, Brian, and all of our new people. Happy New Year. I probably have way too much to report, so I'm not going to report anything at this point. It'll be future. I've had some really good trips to far off lands that have potentially brought things that might happen in the future in the world of film. I'm Biga Metzner, the film commissioner for the Moab to Monument Valley Film Commission, and thank you all so much. I'm going to be listening in, but I will be dark. If you need me, say my name. Thanks.
Great. Okay. I'm just going to circle for, obviously I'm not in Moab right now. I'm up in Jackson, Wyoming. But from speaking to my friends at the lodge, obviously the lodge is down for renovations. It's been very slow. Just the cabins are going. It's probably going to take a little bit longer than anticipated for the renovation to completely be done. But really excited with how things are progressing and what's going to happen for them in the future. With that being said, let's turn it over to Ben and his team. So, Mr. Frederigill.
Well, first, I just want to say welcome to Commissioner Martinez. Glad to have you on. Looking forward to working with you. Echoing, please report this back since Commissioner McGann has left, but a big thank you to Commissioner McGann for, she's the only one I've known since I've been here, and she's been great. I appreciate what Jason said. She always showed up. People were not always complimentary, but she stuck in there, and I think she always had the objective in sight. So I appreciate that. I hope we continue that. As you guys were noting, I really noticed over Christmas the influx of visitors we had. On the 23rd, my wife picked up dinner for 12 of us, and in a restaurant where she was one of the few English-speaking members. So we immediately called Love that night and said, can you just start looking to see if any of the LA campaign that we did or placements have any booking track back? So we've at least raised the question. It would be interesting to know if that had any effect. Through a crazy set of circumstances, I've become friends with an owner of one of our Thai restaurants who I had dinner with last night and a week ago, who said that this was one of the best New Year's they've had, that they had a complete Asian speaking market. They were full waiting lists. So that was interesting feedback. Last week I was at the Go West Summit. That was in Palm Springs, went with the director of the museum. We set up over 70 meetings. Day one was Education Day, starting with the Utah Caucus. And so Utah Caucus notes, which were updated and sent to me yesterday, I've sent to everyone here, which shows their summary of the year, their efforts. Brand USA gave a very good presentation with a lot of travel data, some NPS vendors, the NTTO metrics team. I've been told that I'll get all of those presentations, so when I have them, I will distribute them to the TCAP board. Also, was able to meet up with Kathy Ritter, who was there presenting with Seattle, and Was supposed to be there with Park City, but Jennifer Wesselhoff was called away on a family issue. So Kathy presented the Park City stuff. One thing that was very interesting is it was the first time we officially saw their new brand and their new brand effort, which is Mountainkind. It's interesting for Mick and myself because when we were at UTIA, they were just getting ready to unwrap that. And some of their team was having to jump because there were hotels and vendors that were jumping the brand and absorbing it before it had officially been released. So that'll be one, when you get that presentation, that brand tries to hit several different messages. So I thought that was very apropos. 2 days, we had scheduled meetings. They're the 12-minute meetings, like I say, 70 plus. It was with tour operators, receptives, media. Some of the feedback, some of our receptives are starting to say that they're a little concerned that they keep seeing a rise in hotel prices, yet these are not hotels that are being remodeled, or that these are, they're seeing a price spike for hotels, in nice words, they're maybe getting a little rustic. Some of the tour operators are starting to have issues with being able to get multiple groups into places where they can feed them with, so that there's an opportunity there. And then some of our tour path partners, so San Juan County, some of the vendors, they've said that for years, they've always heard that people were heading to Moab or Monument Valley. In the last couple of years, they're starting to hear more of a, we're headed to Glen Canyon. So there's kind of a pull. So we've been in talking as DMOs about how can we maybe increase the tour path, pull it back to a Moab, a Kanab to Moab. There's all sorts of different talks going on. And this is important because Park City, they are pushing a figure 8 type of a tour path. Utah Office of Tourism, as we know, has the Mighty 5, but sometimes that becomes the Mighty 3, and we're the 2 that are kind of on the outskirts. So we've really tried to focus in on things like Grand Circle and creating other ways to make this the main destination. One thing that I came away with that I think is a huge opportunity, and I'll preface this by saying everyone I met with, I said, we're the DMO. So we're not trying to push a vendor, a hotel, a property. We want to grow the whole pie. So how can we help you? What information do you need? A lot of these tour operators, their info is a little bit old. They visited, they're familiar with Moab, but they may not have been here for several years. They haven't seen some of the hyper growth. They don't understand the hotel inventory. They want to know about the new things and so that created a really good discussion around itineraries. There's an opportunity for us to start pushing out our itineraries that are longer than just the 2-day, 2 national parks. The feedback was from the tour and the travel planners that is, if you can help arm us with the information, we'll get the demand from our FIT visitors that are headed that way, and we'll help sell longer days. We'll help sell more hotel rooms and extend that average length of stay. So just wanted to put that out there. Go West was in Palm Springs, and Alicia Oliver had told me about this a year ago. It kind of goes to what Jason and everyone's talking about with the light parade, which we've in our office have said it should definitely be promoted. Come buy your first big Christmas presents in our bike shops and do these things. Well, on every Thursday night, Palm Springs has a flea market. It's kind of famous. They have music out there, they have vendors, and so with that event, we were able to attend, and that is a really cool thing. So if you ever have the opportunity in Palm Springs on a Thursday night, I would encourage you to explore the Palm Springs flea market. It brings a lot of people out, and it walks them right in front of the restaurants, the bars, shops stay open. A lot of the shops do. So there's the opportunity for extended retail. So that's the wrap up there.
Can I ask a question? The tour company itinerary topic. So figuring out what's appropriate itinerary stops for their customers. Maybe there's a deeper dive that could be done.
There's a whole deeper dive. It could be everything. I mean, it's UTV rentals, it's bike rentals, it's hiking, it's
Right.
horse riding, it's luxury trains. It's everything in our portfolio. We just need to really inform so that for every different kind of person they're sending over, they know the opportunities to rent, buy, do things here. And I think there's a perception that we haven't fully marketed, that we have an opportunity.
And because when you say, so these are travel agents sending people individually or bringing them
Mostly
here in a group?
FIT, both, but most of
Okay.
them are FIT, which is fly-in travel.
Okay.
So
Because, the BLM's working on marking new hikes. And there's a few like less scary adventures that we could be, that don't require any experience. And that's the itinerary that we could put together. And so,
but people should also know, and I agree. And I'm just saying it's everything. It's,
Sure.
you could get on some of our people's Humvee tours and go into the back of Sand Flats. Do you even know there is a Sand Flats? Do you know that there's a, that you can rent one of these? A lot of these people that don't drive in their own countries, they love driving these UTVs. So I think we just need to get with our marketplace here. The chamber's a perfect place to do it, that we start communicating that. I will build the list of contacts that I met with, and because we keep a database, and we will gladly share it with anyone that wants to put that out.
Just a recommendation might be, if you are building those itineraries, not only just pushing them out to your receptives, right? But also to be making sure that those are digital, right? Because that's highly, AI likes to pick up on itineraries. So, as you're designing that, you might as well be having it go here and then also be marketing it for AI so that it's picking it up going, oh yeah, look, when someone says Moab UTV, it already has your itinerary set up.
I think that kind of goes to your point, Ashley, about the website,
yeah.
about making individual sections for different types of travelers, and then it somehow brings them back to Discover Moab.
Yeah, I think there's a couple ways we could do it. We could have, the chamber's trying to be a convener and bring people together to solve problems. So if we brought everyone together and made this list of all these itinerary items that were attractive to tour operators, and then use that information to bring them together on the website, because everyone's just trying to get their message out by themselves sometimes, right? And so we're looking at ways that we can do, we're calling them economic development initiatives that would be convening folks to solve a problem. And so that we can maybe host a meeting and get everyone to suggest their appropriate itineraries. Like none of the multi-day stuff could really be included, but all the day stuff. So, and then what we learn from that, we could talk to the website people about and say, is there a way to create navigation and content that supports this?
Right.
I believe on the old website, we used to have a spot for itineraries as well.
Okay, vaguely remember that.
And it's more almost like itinerary components, like pick and choose which ones you like, which ones are right for you.
Like a roadmap.
Yeah, it's a lot of information to present in a small space on a web page, but we can keep trying. All right.
Okay, with that being said, I know that Ellie and Mick are going to be presenting later. Anyone else have something to present? No? Will someone like to make a motion to approve the meeting minute note from the November 14th meeting?
I won't come. I can't.
I can't, right?
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Any second?
I'll second.
Ashley seconds. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Alex?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes from December 10th? Board meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the December 10th board meeting.
Second?
I'll second.
Rebecca seconds. All in favor? Aye.
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 Motion
And you're welcome
passes.
to approve those as a batch in the future. That's permissible.
Okay. Okay, let's start the interview process. We do have, according to my notes, we have 5 people to interview for one of the 3 board seats that are available. Ben Alter, please correct me if I'm wrong. I see Howard Trenholm, Corey Sproul, Richard Becker, Wendell Williams, and Stephanie Rudolph.
That's correct.
Okay, with that being said, I'm just going to go down in the order of the packet, which would mean Howard, you would be first. All candidates are going to be asked the same questions, and we will move on from there. I do want to say just generally from the start, thank you to all of you for your interest in the board. It's a great, fantastic board, and we really appreciate your willingness to step up and help the community. So that being said, Howard, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can, perfect. Can you please introduce yourself, tell us what brought you to Moab and which community activities you are involved in?
Okay. For those that don't know me, my name is Howard Trenholm. I'm a Scottish immigrant. Arrived in the United States in 1988 and found Moab, or should I say discovered Moab, in 1996. In 1997, I gave up my corporate career with the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company to start a fledgling little bakery and coffee shop called the Red Rock Bakery. And this year we'll celebrate 20 years of continuous year-round service to this community. My daughter now runs the day-to-day operational business, effectively the general manager. I hold the dubious distinction of being the company president, which doesn't necessarily require me daily activities in the bakery, but she's a delightful family member, so it's the Mark II version of family business year-round. So I know Moab from Main Street probably better than anybody else, except maybe Laurie McFarlane, who's been there for some time. I have other business interests, but I've also picked up a position seasonally, the seasonal aspect of things, working for the luxury train company, Rocky Mountaineer. I will be entering my 5th season with them, and I am the lead guest experience specialist with them, which allows me to work in all sorts of avenues, including lodging, dining, transportation. So I qualify for this board on 2 counts, one as a free member, but also as one of the TRCCA collectors. Beyond that, I have multiple years of board experience, including 9 years. Congratulations to Commissioner McGann for her service. I spent 9 years up until 2021 on the Moab Area Travel Council, serving under 2 directors, Marianne DeLay and Elaine Gisler. Some of the board members I recognize, just one from my time now, Sharon, hello. And I have a lot of institutional history with the board that was doing remarkable work with its primary mission, which is to attract visitors to our community. At least that's according to all the interesting discussions I caught upstate this last summer.
Perfect. Howard, what do you think are Grand County's greatest assets and attributes?
I think the people of this community who have set it upon themselves to pioneer a most unbelievable mosaic of usage of public lands. Obviously, the lands are crown jewels. We all know the percentage of everything in there. The national park is by far our crown jewel. When you look at all the statistics, including those lovely details in Trails to Tomorrow, it did account for that over 60% of everybody that comes here are basically sightseers. They combine for more than everybody else, every other use, by land, by water, by air, to come to our community. And this town, Moab, Grand County's main, if not only city, has developed a way out of a uranium catastrophe a generation ago and developed an incredible resource for visitation and delivery of really what our product is to those that visit, which is well-being.
Excellent. And what do you think are Grand County's greatest challenges?
As always, managing it all. We have 3,000 hotel rooms, 3,018 that should be filled. But we need to manage this well. I can honestly say my resume with the Travel Council will indicate I spent much of the end of the last decade developing the sustainable tourism program that made Grand County actually the only county member of the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. And within those guidelines, they showed a blueprint as to how to become a better destination. And the Travel Council was a big part of that. On their creative side, they were constantly looking ways to make sure our tourists behaved themselves by encouraging buy-in. Of course, we still wanted them to visit, so we need to kind of restore those systems. So our biggest threat is things we have not been doing as a Travel Council for some years now, which is the direct purpose of our body, is to do it well. And it was a great honor to be part of the board that won national accolades at the ESTO, which I'm sure you're all familiar with.
Nice. What professional experience and perspective do you bring to the board?
Literally a lifetime of hospitality service. So I spent my entire life taking care of people. Predominantly the lodging and dining aspects of it, I consider that the key to hospitality. People have to have a place to sleep, and people need sustenance. So down on Main Street, I've welcomed, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of visitors to our community with a big smile, making them feel welcome, along with, a whole flotilla of others across the board in all sorts of industries. But predominantly, since I'm in the tax collecting part, my industry does benefit the community in terms of what it collects. So I would be the educator of visitors. I've hired hundreds, if not hundreds of people desperately trying to create year-round work. And I really valued the Travel Council at its very best, where it drove our market economy and made sure that the businesses that strive to stay open all year, heard a little discussion earlier, were able to do so. So with my own lifetime paycheck experience, I'm fully engaged in the hospitality industry. And on my flip side of that, my public service side that we give up to kind of give our time back to our communities, I have a lot of experience that would help, bring our Travel Council back on track, to not use a pun from a trained employee.
And finally, Howard, would you be able and are you willing to participate in the meetings as they're held?
Pardon me?
Would you be able and are you willing to participate in the meetings as they are held?
Absolutely, 11 a year. Live as possible, as in person.
Thank you, Howard. Appreciate it.
Hey, Brian, can I interrupt real quick?
Sure.
I apologize. I sent you the incorrect question document. I just sent you the correct one online. We can keep Howard's interview and all that, but could we just ask, I think there's a key question to this board. What is your understanding of county tourism taxes and how are they distributed? If we could just ask Howard that question, then we can continue on. I apologize. That's my mismanagement of the files.
No worries. Howard, did you hear that?
Oh, absolutely. Can you still hear me? Yeah.
Yep, sure can.
3 sectors of a pretty broad industry collects taxes. The most notable one is the transient room tax levied on all private sector lodging. Funnily enough, public sector doesn't collect any of that. On the other side of that, there's the TRCCA tax. And the only 2 sectors of the industry that collect that tourism tax are restaurants and motorized vehicle rentals, and more recently, tours were included into that taxation amount. Part of the role of the Travel Council is not only create ways with the 37% of the marketing funds to draw visitors here, There is also the 63 cents on every dollar brought in that the Travel Council Advisory Board is required to advise on how every cent of that is spent by the County Commission. And that is one area which if Sharon can remember my time on the board, she will reference my constantly trying to bring this subject up. It was one of the most critical roles beyond our primary marketing role. So it's a state tax, it's optional. That means it's a volunteer tax. That means the county does not have to collect it should it not wish to participate in its rule book. And I can honestly say that when I was the chairman, that I was required by my executive director to ensure that every board member attended the mandatory state auditor meetings that were held in our convention center.
Excellent. Thank you, Howard.
Brian, sorry again about that. Were you able to receive my email with the?
I have it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next up will be Corey.
Don't believe Corey's here.
No, Corey. Okay, let's move on to Richard.
All right. Come over and join you guys here. I'll hop over.
Yep, see here too.
Oh, I can swing around. You can stay in your spot.
No, that's a good spot for you right there.
All right.
Richard, please introduce yourself and tell us about your background.
All right. I am Rich Packer. I have a background as a heavy participant in recreation my whole life. Been coming to Moab since I can remember and participating in, I think, pretty much everything it has to offer. Motorized, non-motorized, air, ground, water, everything that it has here. I've been a resident here for about 2.5 years and operate multiple businesses and work with a couple of other businesses in town. We can get more detail on that with the other questions, but yeah, I've been coming and participating and seeing Moab grow through its phases, and just so much good that is here and that can be had here, both by locals and those that are coming to visit.
Fantastic. Rich, what is your understanding of the Travel Council Advisory Board?
So the advisory board has the responsibility to advise the council and participate in the allocations of the TRT and the TRCCA taxes. So it's our responsibility to guide how Moab is marketed, divide those funds into channels for marketing, and recommend advice on the campaigns, I believe.
Okay. And Rich, what do you believe are Grand County's greatest challenges right now?
I think there's some disparity between, local view on what the end goal is with tourism in Grand County. So much of Grand County relies on the tourism business, on the taxes. It provides a huge percentage of the income for the county and the city. But certainly, dividing viewpoints on the value or risks or challenges that provides. So I think that's a big piece. I think certainly seasonality of the business specifically for tourism, and housing for supporting tourism, both visitors and workforce.
Okay, perfect. And then, Rich, what is your understanding of county tourism taxes and how they are distributed?
Man, I wish I could just echo what Howard had just said, because he's got a good handle on that. But the TRT is collected from hospitality hotels, and I believe the restaurants contributed to that piece as well. And the other side of it is the vehicle rentals and tours that go into the coffer. It's 33% that gets allocated out for promotion of the tourism industry for the county. And then the balance that goes to, what is the term? Somebody help me out. Mitigation, that's the term, thank you. Mitigation of, the heavy use that the county receives from all the tourism.
And finally, are you able to serve during the second Tuesday of each month from 3 to 5 p.m.?
I am, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you, Rich. We appreciate you coming in and applying.
Let me, if I was paying attention to the other questions that were asked, and so I left out some of the pieces. So my background is, I have a bachelor's in recreation and tourism, tourism and hospitality, with an MBA. So I've been focused a lot of my career in the business side of tourism. I've worked on the product side for providing products for outdoor recreation, as well as currently operate a tour company in Moab, Emotion Moab, which does electric dirt bike tours. And I operate a glamping operation here as well. And then I do a lot of consulting with our Red Tail Air, which is our airlift and scenic air tours here. So I'm very familiar with tourism, hospitality, and the guiding and activity services. Even did a stint way back in the day with Western River. So been a long relationship with Moab.
Excellent. So, thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Rich.
Stint, huh?
Yeah, that's all.
That's a stint.
All right, Wendell, you're up next.
Hot seat. My name is Wendell Williams. I think as I recognize a few of you from Sunsetville Restaurant, where I'm a server and manage the restaurant. And Biga, you said wanted to see your face to say your name. So I just wanted to say hi to Biga. And at Sunset Grill, we are actually open, so come on up. Laura, you mentioned about restaurants being open. It is a hard time right now. I worked last night. It was it was very slow, but we are open. And David Fox, I give him a lot of credit, the owner, for kind of wanting to be open for the community. He does a lot of good for the community. I've been up there at Sunset Grill for 10 years. It's hard to say now. It's hard to believe that time goes by so quickly. You've seen me up there before as well. David Fox does a lot for the community. We're open right now, even though we're kind of operating at a loss, but he wants to make sure the community is served. We've done a lot of good for the community. We've done a lot of fundraisers and events. Recently named the Business of the Year by the Chamber, so thank you very much. And thank you to David Fox for all he does for the community. I started my career a long time ago. I don't want to say how long ago, but I started actually in tourism with the airline industry. I worked for Northwest Airlines back when there was a Northwest Airlines, now Delta Airlines. Started off in Minneapolis, went to Boston, did projects in Tokyo and Amsterdam, and ultimately ended up in New York. And then I went into publishing, where I worked for a major publisher. We managed publications from around the world. And then I went to a venture capital group where I was a vice president of marketing, and we specialized in new media ventures. And then I went to Tried and True. That was during the .com kind of boom and bust. And so during the bust, I decided to go back to basics. Went to work for the New York Times, which was an amazing experience, amazing people. I was in strategic partnerships and I learned a lot from them. Just to this day, which took me to Australia, where I worked for the largest media company in Australia, hundreds of newspapers and magazine titles and websites. So I worked in business development, strategy, and I developed a division that was responsible for all licensing and syndication and content, and managed relationships with publishers from around the world, and it became one of the most profitable divisions of the company. So from that, I was recruited to move back to, my accent, by the way, is a little bit of all of that. So I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, of all places, and then New York, and then Australia, so my accent's all over the place, so I apologize. And now Moab. And then I was, recruited to move back to the States for a startup, and didn't quite work out. So we traveled. My partner and I traveled around the United States, took some time off, and ended up in Moab. It was supposed to be 3 months. And here we are 11 years later. Like many people, my parents retired in Cortez, Colorado, and being able to be here in Moab and be near them, they're getting older, need more help, has just been so special. We've been coming here for years. It's always been a very special part for our family. And so being able to call this home, as we all know, this amazing place is pretty spectacular. So we always say, we came for the beauty and then stayed for the community. And I think that, a testament is we're all here today because, the board members and county officials and applicants, we're all here because we care about the community. We love this community. We care about the community members. And, like it or not, Moab is intrinsically tied to tourism, and there's a responsibility to make sure that we treat that responsibly and effectively. And so yeah, here I am. So that's in a nutshell, in a roundabout way.
Wendell, what is your understanding of the Travel Council Advisory Board?
I'm sorry, but a few congratulations. So we have 2 Brian. Congratulations, Brian. Congratulations on your new role. Brian, congratulations on your new role. So yeah, few new roles here. So congratulations.
Thank you. And Wendell, what is your understanding of the Travel Council Advisory Board?
So because Moab or Grant County implements a TRT and TRCCA taxes, which are voluntary taxes, there's a requirement to have the Travel Council Advisory Board. And as I understand it, the board is basically set up to advise the commission on how best to spend those TRT and TRCCA funds. There are restrictions on how those funds can be used. For TRT, there is the, mitigation, as well as establishing and promoting tourism, which can include advertising, the Film Commission, and recreation. And so while the board does a lot of other things, I was really interested to hear last week, Ashley and Alex talking about the program you guys are working on in this internship, which I think is so valuable. We have a lot of high schoolers at Sunset Grill, and just teaching them the basics of proper attire, not using your phone, just being on time, not chewing gum. There's a lot of basic skill sets that I think are missing, and I think the internship that you guys, Alex and Ashley, were talking about, and coming together with USU and the chamber, is so valuable. So I know the board does a lot of other things, but in terms of grants for events, but its primary mission, as I understand it, is to advise the commission on how best to spend TRT and TRCCA funds and budgeting. And congratulations, by the way. I saw that the commission approved the recommendations from TCAP for 2025, so congratulations.
Thank you. The team worked hard on it. What do you believe are Grand County's greatest challenges, Wendell?
I think we all can agree that housing is an issue. Obviously, it's a challenge. It's not too unique to Moab. Housing right now, particularly affordable housing, is an issue around the country and communities around the country, particularly in gateway communities like Moab. And I think another thing is the cost of living, and the recent downturn we had in our economy last year. I've worked at the Sunset Grill for almost 10 years, or I guess 10 years now, 10 seasons. And last summer was the slowest I've seen in 10 years. And it was hard. It was hard for a lot of our workers, particularly those who are most vulnerable, where shifts were being cut and hours were being cut. And it's not unique to our restaurant, but obviously when you're in the industry, a lot of people in the industry. And it was ubiquitous across Moab, restaurants and Jeep rentals, ATV rentals. I mean, it was really hard summer and a hard September, actually. And so I think, while TCAP, obviously, there's no silver bullet to kind of solve these problems, I do think that TCAP has some influence. So when recommending the types of promotion and when to promote, so that we can avoid some of these dips in the economy, so that we can have more of a stable economy, so that people can afford to live in Moab, that we can recommend how and when to advertise and promote, and so that we can have a more level where people can budget. I think that is a responsibility. I also think that there is kind of, Alex, I think you mentioned it in the last meeting, there's kind of a stigma around this idea of tourism. There are people in town who are very against tourism, and yet at the same time, they enjoy the benefits they receive from it, the lifestyle they have from it. And so I think there's an education that's needed. I don't think it was until recently, until this last election and with the audit and everything, that people realized that so much of TRT pays for our essential services like law enforcement and roads and EMT. I think a lot of people had this understanding that it was this tax that the state is imposing on us, that we have to impose and that we have to advertise. And so I think there's an education process that needs to kind of happen to get people to understand the benefits of tourism. I mean, we have a great recreation center. We have the Grand Central. We have so many great things available because of tourism. I was just back from Australia for Christmas. We were in a small coastal town. This is a tourist town. And it's bigger than Moab, but a tourist town. And I was just so taken aback by the welcome we received. There were signs welcoming tourists. And it was really refreshing because I think the town collectively understands that they have a limited opportunity to make the money to pay for their beautiful performance center, to pay for their lifeguards, their EMT. And so they are happy when the beaches are full, when the restaurants are full, because they know people can pay rent and they know people can pay their mortgages. And so they have this unique window. And I think we kind of need to get back to that. And maybe it's about perceptions. And educating the community on the benefits of tourism. The other day I was on Main Street and the guy was taking a picture of the rim, and the tourist just of the rim of Moab, and I was like, it's just the rim. But when you change your perception, you look at it from their eyes, you realize that's spectacular. I mean, to them, this is just where we live is spectacular, and so sometimes it's about changing our perceptions of where we, putting on a tourist eyes format. And when our primary message has been, don't mess up our town while you're here, is not as welcoming as we could be. So I think getting back to that more welcoming, looking at our town through tourist eyes, educating the community on the benefits of tourism is something we could be doing better. Sorry, that's a little long-winded.
That's quite all right, Wendell, don't worry. What is your understanding of county tourism taxes and how they are distributed?
So because Grand County levies these taxes, TRT and TRCCA, they are voluntary taxes. And with that comes the responsibility on how those monies are spent. So 37% is required to be spent on promotion and tourism. So establishing, promoting tourism, which can mean advertising, the film commission, and recreation. And then in our case, the rest of it, 63%, is spent on mitigation, which can go towards EMS, roads, our law enforcement, search and rescue. And so that's how the monies are spent. And I think the goal and the role of the commission is to ensure that, or to advise the commission on how those monies are best spent. Also to help make sure they're in compliance with the state.
Excellent. Okay. And then finally, are you able to serve during the second Tuesday of each month from 3
Absolutely.
until 5 p.m.?
Absolutely not. No, I'm kidding. Yes, yes.
Thank you for coming in. You can leave. No, just kidding.
Thank you. Congratulations on your new role. Hey, what about my envoy points?
Thank you, Wendell. We appreciate you coming in.
Are you looking at my envoy points for me?
Well, we can negotiate. Which leaves us with, I believe, Stephanie. Stephanie.
No,
There's no Stephanie.
Stephanie's not here.
Okay, well, this makes the process a little easier. Did Corey show up?
I just 2 minutes ago received an email from Corey. They're withdrawing their application just because of their own capacity needs. So that brings us down to the 7 applications that are eligible within the packet. And Brian, if I could just add real quick, as I think you're all going to move on next to discussing and possibly voting on members. I spoke to the commission administration today, and they spoke with the attorney's office and feel confident that we've reached out to the candidates who are not here, and they've been given due notice, so this board can vote today on forwarding recommendations to the commission for the board. And you can vote on folks who are not interviewed as long as their application appears in the packet. So I want to just let the board know about that context.
Fantastic. Okay. Good to know. All right. With that being said, keep in mind that we do need to fill 3 positions. One of them does, at least one of them does need to be either TRT or TRCCA collecting entity. So with that being said, I'm going to open it up to the board for any questions first for any of the candidates that may be in the room.
Oh, I don't think we can do that. We're not supposed to ask any follow-up questions, no different questions for new candidates. This is just the board's discussion now.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
With that
can we,
being said, discussion amongst the board on candidate.
can we identify who pays the taxes?
Yeah, Ben, you have the list, correct?
I don't actually, I haven't written down a list of who pays the qualifying taxes, but off the top of my head, I know that Howard does. Let's see, who else? Lauren Rothman, we discussed this earlier. Is he a TRT?
He is.
Okay, great. So Lauren, so that makes 2 of them.
Wendell would be.
Yeah.
Wendell, thank you. So that's 3.
Sorry, my word just froze up. So yeah, looking through the applications, Howard for sure, Wendell for sure, Lauren, and that appears to be it.
Cole, I don't believe so. Cole operates a bike shop.
And Sharon, no.
Yeah, Sharon's a no.
There's a possibility that Rich Packer might collect those through one of his businesses, but I'm not sure.
We can ask real quick.
Rich
Rich,
is saying, yeah.
which tax do you collect?
TRT.
Thank you. Great. So of the candidates, Sharon and Cole do not fit the tax paying membership. The rest do, who have been interviewed.
And sorry, how many do we have to, only one spot has to be the taxi?
At least one.
At least one, yeah.
Majority of voting members have to be members that pay one of those taxes, but all of them can be. It's the discretion of the board. But to keep that majority, at least one more.
Okay, cool. And we have 3 spots.
Thank you.
And there's 7 people on this.
Anyone like to make a nomination?
I would like to nominate Sharon. Well, actually, can we discuss first? I do want to nominate her, but we have 3 spots. Sharon's our only returning. I was just trying to figure this out.
Yes, Sharon is the only returning one, and then the other 2 seats would be new, if we all voted Sharon in.
Okay. Well, do we have to, can we discuss everyone before we vote?
Absolutely.
Okay, but I do want to I want to get a nomination on the floor for Sharon, just because I think her experience at the MIC is really valuable.
I agree. Second that.
So Rebecca, are you seconding?
Yes.
Okay. How do you guys want to do this? Do you want to propose all 3 at one time under one nomination? Or
Let's
you
do one at a
individually?
time. Let's just do one at a time.
One at a time? Okay, so then let's start with Sharon then. All in
Well, we
favor, we have Ashley that has nominated, Rebecca has seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
That's 4. Alex?
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous. Welcome back, Sharon.
She just stepped out, but.
Oh, how anticlimactic.
Still have to
When
send
she
these-
walks back in, tell her she didn't make it and see what her reaction is.
I would like, Brian, I would like to nominate Wendell Williams to join us and bring his wealth of experience in the world to our board.
Fantastic. Okay. Any other nominations or considerations that anyone would like? I mean, Ashley wants to discuss, pros and cons.
Lori, was that a motion?
Yes, I made a motion to elect Wendell Williams, but I didn't hear a second.
I'll second.
Rebecca's seconding. Okay, so we have Wendell nominated by Lori, seconded by Rebecca.
Can I make another nomination, or do we have to vote first? I don't know, Rob.
We have to vote for,
Okay.
we have to vote. Any discussion? Anyone?
Think of something bad to say, quick.
Okay, if no discussion, then we're going to open up to the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Rebecca, Ashley,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
and okay, unanimous. Wendell, congratulations, you pass.
He ran away
He
too.
ran off.
Oh, you guys are letting me down here in the chamber office. All right, that leaves 1 position left.
I would like to nominate Howard Trenholm. He has invested so much of his life in making Grand County and Moab thrive, and we've tried to nominate him in the past, and we're stymied, and I think that we would be short-sighted to not nominate Howard.
Okay, there's a nomination for Howard. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca is seconding. So Howard, any discussion?
Yes. I just think that we need as much new perspective as we can get. And so I hesitate to, because we already put Sharon on, I hesitate to have another person who has sort of been, I just think we need more new perspective.
Okay. Any other discussion? Anyone else? No? Okay,
I mean,
let's call it.
I really value Howard's service, but I just think that times are changing and things are changing, and the more broader perspective we have, the stronger we'll be.
Got it. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let's open it up for vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Lori, Rebecca, I will also say aye. That's 3. Alex?
Aye.
Alex says aye. And Ashley?
No.
Okay, 4-1. Howard, you are in as well. Congratulations. That concludes this portion of the agenda. Thank you, everyone, for attending. We appreciate you, and I look forward to our new board members joining the team. I know that you will all do amazing things. Let's move on to the next agenda item, which I believe...
So now I'm glad I don't have to.
is going to be Mr. Mick Saletta is going to bring us up to board on the Contour Airlines advertising and travel zoo. Mick, we'll turn it over to you.
Great. Well, as much as we'd like to take credit for all the tourism everyone's seeing in town, we'll leave that to the metrics that Love will report after our current advertising campaign ends and this opportunity, advertising through Travel Zoo. We just wanted to share this with you. I shared it over email, but also talk about it a little bit in this meeting. This opportunity, Tammy's online. The opportunity came to us through the airport. The airport has an agreement with Contour Air to set aside some marketing budget. And Tammy came to us and asked for help to spend the budget. We wanted to engage Travel Zoo, so decided to go with this winter promotion. It's running currently, and like I said, we'll be getting metrics and we'll include this in our reporting. It's live. I sent a link around. It's an advertorial. For those who don't know, Travel Zoo is an online travel agency that offers travel deals and entertainment. It's been around for a long time. I think you've seen it. What else can I tell you? We're guaranteed a reach of 1.5 million, and we'll get more metrics on that. Love also pixeled the opportunity, and we'll be able to link that to our current advertising. Unless there are any questions, that's what I have to report.
Can you explain, I forgot, can you explain what a pixel is again?
A pixel is something that people will put on the back end of their website, and we can start to link web traffic. So if we display an ad, someone sees it, and then it leads to a hotel booking or something like this, we can start to track that and then report on it. Great. To determine the success of the advertisement.
Thank you, Mick.
Any other questions for Mick from anyone?
Do we know like who all has the pixel on their website, or is it?
So this is only pixeled on Travel Zoo.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you sending something out.
Yes.
Asking everybody if they could put it on their website.
Yes. So separately, we've asked board members to pixel their websites, which will show if someone sees an ad and then visits the website that those ads are starting to get traction. Brian took us up on it with Red Cliffs, and recently Alex took us up on it. But if anyone else would like to,
I think we're on there.
I'll do it.
Okay. I can recirculate.
Yeah, we've been on it for a few years.
I don't think we can because we're Marriott. It's just Marriott's website. We don't have an individual website.
Sorry, what's your website?
We'll have Adventure Center.
Oh, the Adventure Center, yes. Yeah, is the other pixel.
But Western Spirit doesn't have it. We'll have it.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mick?
I can put it on advertising.
I'll send it to you.
No? Okay, thanks, Mick. Ali, update on social media channels.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen here.
There's a lot on here.
Hold on, it's not letting me do it. Do you have it? Or do you want me to figure it out? Oh, we're in. Okay. So I started this job at the end of October, and I took over posting on our social media accounts. Oh yeah. Yeah, so I kind of put together an overview of what this organic posting has done for us. So we've only been doing organic, which means that we're not boosting anything, we're not paying for anything to get in front of people here. We're using about half user-generated content, which means when somebody posts a photo of Moab, and they tag Discover Moab or they hashtag Moab, we can go in and comment and ask if we can repost it, and usually people say yes. And so on Facebook, we have almost 76,000 followers. Since November up until yesterday, we had around 160,000 views on all of our content. So that means that's how many times people saw it. And that includes stories. And we've had about 1,600 interactions. And so I've been balancing our content with making reels, doing this user-generated content, posting landscape photos, and also posting information about Moab. So as you can see, the top content by views was this timed entry graphic that I made just about how to reserve it when you need it, a landscape photo, and a reel that was user-generated content. And then by interactions, it was a reshare. So that's why you can't see this like photography reshare is just gray. There are a bunch of photographers that go to Moab and then they post their photos. So I just like shared that, and then people loved it. They commented on it. They liked it a lot in the landscape photo. And then I made a little Christmas graphic. People really loved that on Facebook. Instagram, we have like 15,500 followers. We have very similar view numbers for Instagram. And so what I'm finding is that our Instagram followers are more likely to share content on like their own stories and things like that. So that's why we get so many views and a lot more interactions on Instagram. You can see that our watch time on these reels that I've been making is 20 hours, which is really impressive because none of them are longer than 30 seconds. So people are watching them like all the way through. And so our top content by views for Instagram was a reel just of like, I hiked Elephant Butte and there was some really beautiful ice and water running through it. And I posted like a 5-second video of that. People loved it. I made a graphic about 2025 events, and a lot of people saw that. And then I've also been posting a couple little graphics about itineraries, and a lot of people saw that. And then by interactions, it was again that like winter reel, stargazing footage, and another reel about things to do in Moab that aren't in the national parks. Yeah, and so kind of in these 3 months, I've been posting just to get to know our audience and get to know what they like to see and what they interact with, and also to tell the meta algorithms that we're back online and they can start like prioritizing our content again. So moving forward, what I'm gonna do is Facebook really loves these photos. And I've talked to a bunch of our like other DMOs across the state about what they do for their social media. And so I'm gonna start posting more landscape photos on Facebook to try to get people to share those more. And Instagram, we can use it kind of the same way. People really like these kind of informative graphics. And we're also gonna start experimenting with boosting posts and doing some of our own in-house like meta ads. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So. Nice job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's been great. So I've said before, we're so glad to have Allie on the team. She came in with a 30, 60, 90-day plan. So we're entering the 90 days, right?
Mm-hmm.
First was to get up and running, get a cadence. She's got a social media calendar, so there's a lot of potential there.
What are your goals, Allie?
Yeah, so my goals are to grow views and interactions. I think followers are important, but as far as Instagram and Facebook go, what we want to use those for is basically like travel inspiration. That's what a lot of people are going on Facebook and Instagram for when they're looking for travel content. So it's kind of getting Moab in front of people. And then our website can be used to kind of finish that process and like have people book and know exactly where to go. And so really what I want to do is start getting our content in front of people and in front of people who don't usually see it. So when I look at our audience, it's a lot of regional people. So it's like Utah, Colorado, Idaho, Nevada. But I want to, with our boosts, I want to start posting things to like New York City audience, California, Washington, and start really reaching out. And also using boosted posts to encourage people commenting, because a lot of the comments on these posts, especially the organic ones, are people being like, I love Moab, or I'm going in September. And so encouraging that type of interaction with our posts is going to be really useful, especially when somebody sees a photo of arches and maybe they're like, where is that? And they go to the comments, and all of the comments are people saying, I love this place so much, I'm going soon.
I think there's a real opportunity to tap into some user groups that are already really passionate about Moab.
Yeah.
And work to maintain our reputation with those groups.
Mm-hmm.
So climbing, mountain biking, OHV, river, and so it take a second to look around and see where to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's like it's already groups that love climbing and have a little place in their heart for Moab.
Mm-hmm.
And if we start tapping into those channels and get stuff in front of those groups, then we're going to get more and more traction in that way. So it's a little more granular, right, than everybody loves Moab.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it could be really powerful as a way to and so there are experts in all those things right in town.
Mm-hmm.
that can tell you where would be, like how to do that. I mean, maybe there's like there's probably a couple different ways. So we probably need to think about it a little bit, but once you get into that space, those people are already having a passionate conversation about biking or OHV or whatever, and they get the message, then Moab starts showing up in their feed. Those people are already our customers, but they're getting pulled right now by a lot of other places. So I think, every place is doing we're the best place, come here, here's our top 10 things to do. But if we can start to tap into that love, I think it could be really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and it will help you go regionally too.
Yeah.
Because if you get into mountain biking, there's a lot of mountain bikers in California and others, Texas and other states. So, and that would happen in each of those groups. So it's a project, and we'd have to think through it. I don't want to go on a goose chase, but it really, those people are already passionate, and we just need to remind them to come to Moab.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so an easy way to do that I've been looking into is you can join, like our page can join groups.
Yeah.
So we're part of like Hiking Southwest, Utah Mighty 5, and you can post to those groups.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that too, but it's a great idea to do like very targeted posts.
Yeah. And we'll go talk to the climbing community in town and say, where do you guys, what's your coolest,
Right.
what do you recommend? And they're going to have something to say.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I interact with a ton of our local accounts. So like our stories, especially on Instagram, every day I'm usually reposting things from our locals and local businesses.
Yeah.
Another question. So
Yeah.
What was the reach or the follow that you were getting when you took the position?
Yeah, it was pretty low because the only things that we were really doing were our ad agency was running boosted posts, and we hadn't been making any original content on Facebook or Instagram since June or July. So it was very low. And so the beginning of this was kind of just restarting with the algorithm and like letting Facebook and Instagram know that we were back. And I think we got Instagram access in late November. And that's when I started being able to like post on our story and everything.
I like it. I like the idea that you started organic, to build it up, and then you're going to go ahead and start pushing through.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm excited to compare organic versus boosted and see what that can do to our views.
Allie, I want to thank you for posting about off-highway usage. It's been many, many years since I've seen anything come out of Moab that promoted off-road of any kind. I think that was perceived to be irresponsible use or something because, I'm always looking like, why would we not have that? And Ben Frederick-Gill committed a year ago that he was going to get back into that. And so about 160,000 of those views were that specific post because I made sure everyone looked at it so you would get lots of exposure and traction, but it was genuinely about lots of things. This is what you can, 15 things you can do in Moab, but we as a community, as an off-road community, were included in that. And I just really want to thank you because I think that matters. and I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, definitely. I posted another reel too from like the Top of the World Trail, and that was actually really fun because a lot of people commented with their own photos of having done that route.
Right. I saw that up at the diving board.
Yeah, it's cool to see how different user groups are interacting with our content too. Like the off-road community will reply with their own photos, which is great. And yeah, it'll be great to see how the climbers and how the bikers want to interact with Facebook content too.
Well, the more we interact, the more traction Moab gets, and that's why I'm like, okay, everybody look at this. Everybody look at this. This has to be looked at. And so I think you're just posting things that are interesting enough that it makes people want to engage, and I really appreciate you putting in that effort.
Yeah, thanks.
Holly, if I can make a suggestion, number one, just echoing what everybody else said, like fantastic job. Really happy to see this. If you're wanting to boost your engagement as well as your followers, which I know you're not necessarily concerned with followers, but on Instagram, there's a page called Roam the Planet, ROAM the Planet. I think they have like 1.5 million followers, maybe a little bit more than that. We've partnered with them at Red Cliffs Lodge every year for the past 3 years. What they do is they do like ultimate giveaways. I think it would be really cool if like Moab did like a, Discover Moab ultimate Moab vacation. And then they partner with different companies. Like we've been partnered with Yeti, we've been partnered with Alpine, North Face. So they'll take like 3 or 4 different companies that they themselves also have millions and millions of followers and create kind of like they'll do a 5-day giveaway where, tag your friend and invite your friend and, follow these pages. And it always has been super effective for Red Cliffs, and it exposes, Moab to a much wider audience that we would get through any paid boost post. And it's relatively quickly. You can DM the guys directly from Instagram. They're super responsive, great to work with. It doesn't cost anything other than you having to solicit. I'm sure Lurie would be happy to give away a Hummer adventure. I'm sure Red Cliffs would be happy to give away a 2-night stay. I'm sure Jason would be happy to give, a rafting trip out. There's an opportunity to really make this kind of one of their bigger promotions ever. And drive a lot of traffic to the site.
We're in.
That's a great idea. And also on the content part, sorry, you kind of went over that, but you're getting content. You're not creating any content still, right?
I'm creating probably 75% of it, and
you're like shooting the pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then another like 25 to 30% of it is user generated content.
From just random people, not people.
Yeah, from people who are coming here and then posting their photos and tagging us or doing like hashtag Moab.
Yeah.
We also have an app that we were committed to.
Yeah, that's what we use.
Where it generates a lot of user generated content.
Yeah, that's what we use like CrowdRiff for.
Yeah, and so one thing that a lot of the studies are starting to show is that user generated stuff is a lot more effective than the posed and the staged. One of the wake up calls is when Brian and I were at Germany last year, is finding out that there was a German fan that he had taken down that had how many hits that we didn't even realize because it wasn't being connected. So that was a wake up call in March that. But again, user generated content that is highly influential.
Well, so that's what I'm saying. We have highly influential people in a lot of these categories that live right here in town, and no one's asked for their help before.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm definitely asking.
Okay, good. Well,
yeah.
And so is that, if I can help introduce you, or like, I think there could be a really organic kind of a thing that
I think so
that's
too.
helping you create content that will be user generated content from the people who live here.
Yes, I actually just emailed with Brandon and Mark at Western Spirit the other day to get their like drone videos.
Yeah, and we just did a big project and created a lot of stuff. So yeah, awesome. But a lot of people are doing that, and even individuals, like not businesses, but just individual enthusiasts who move to Moab because they love climbing, and if they
Yeah.
can shoot, or they love biking, or they love OHVing, and if they can shoot, we want their stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I've been bookmarking local like photographers, creators in town and working with them.
and maybe there's a program that we incentivize them. I don't know. It's just some,
Yeah.
like, whatever we can do to support that and help that. Let's
Yeah,
keep thinking
definitely.
how we can.
Yeah, no, more content is great. I'm starting to run out of like my videos of me biking.
I was gonna say, at some point, that's gonna
Uh-huh.
get tiring.
Yeah, it's a good way to start,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just to like have something to post.
No, great.
Yeah, but I've definitely been reaching out to people.
Okay. Well, let's keep tying you into that. That's something I'll be thinking about.
Yeah, thanks.
Get you more content. That's really organic, but also
Right.
from really
Mhm.
strong.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you been seeing these people that are engaging, clicking through to like the Discover Moab website? Like, is there like a link between Instagram? You see like, oh, this person came to the Discover Moab website through Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great question. So I've been experimenting. So I've been experimenting with posting I've also been posting on our blog. And I've been posting those links to Facebook. And usually those people who are clicking through and interacting with that content are already locals, which is great, but not really what we want. And so the thing with links is that you kind of get punished by the algorithm for posting links, and because like Facebook and Instagram don't want people to click off. So those are going to be something that we're going to boost, so that people click through. I definitely think that's important. But as far as like when we're just focusing on organic, people are really interacting with these landscape content. And so when we do links, it'll have to be something we pay for.
Because I've even noticed like when you're like on Facebook or even on Instagram or something, when you click on a link,
Yeah.
you're still like under like the Facebook,
Yes.
banner or something
Yeah.
or whatever. You
Yeah.
never leave that.
Yeah, and so I also looked into Instagram used to allow verified accounts to let people swipe up on a story to read it, but they're like not really doing that anymore, or they're like revamping this program, and so we're on a wait list to be allowed to have people just be able to swipe up as they're going through Instagram. But right now they would have to click on a link within a story and then they can get somewhere, but you can't post a link within an Instagram post. So yeah, links are kind of still figuring out the best way to do that.
And I might have missed this, but I have one more question, which is,
Yeah.
what type of follower are you getting compared to like your reels, right? Your stories, and then just your posts?
Yeah, so it depends, like Facebook versus Instagram. Instagram loves reels. Like those are always the most interacted with. And whenever I post a reel, that's when we see a huge bump in people following us. So it kind of goes like interactions on Instagram are most popular with reels, and then landscape photos, and then these like graphics posts. Facebook, people mostly love photos, and they're not really watching our reels as much. And then I experimented a little bit too with posting some of our reels on YouTube Shorts, and that didn't take off at all. So I'm mostly just going to focus on Instagram and Facebook, and then slowly build up YouTube.
Any thoughts on anything live? Did you guys start with anything, doing any live?
Yeah, I'm interested in doing some live. I think that it'd be really fun to do live videos at events. And so like, even like the Bluff Balloon Festival this weekend might be fun just to promote the area. But yeah, live videos are definitely on my radar because that's another kind of algorithm will favor you if you do a live video.
There's this thing about personas that we did for a while that is really, I'm not sure where that is in the current status of things, but I do think there's something about like seeing someone that looks like you, maybe not looks like you, but has your same goals for a Moab trip. You know, like if you started doing like different types of people coming to Moab and having different itineraries, like coming with the family, coming on your own, coming with the bachelor party, coming whatever. I don't know. It just could be a fun way to do content that's not just come to Moab and go outside again and again. You know, like here's a group, and I don't know if that would work, but if it did, I just feel like we need the barrier is people are like, is this place for me? And And so if we can answer that question, yes, this place is for you. Even if you're just in your flip-flops, this place is for you. And
Yeah.
then if you don't have much money, this place is for you. And if you're ready to hire 10 different outfitting gigs, this place is for you, like, and coming with the kids or whatever, like, I love that tagline in the webpage of there's only one Moab, but then the next piece is to be, let's help you find your Moab. You know, we need to, because sometimes you just keep blasting out stuff and you forget to say, well, who are you anyway out there? Like, what's important to you? And so I don't know, it's just something to keep thinking about because we have a lot of competition and we don't want to do the same thing that everyone's doing. Top 10 things to do in Moab, like, you know, and we don't need to, like, you know, go delicate arch forward every second, you know?
Yeah.
We have a million things to do here and a million places to go that are world class. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how can we just connect to incentivize them to find their own Moab? Come in. I don't know. It's a,
Yeah.
I'm
That's a great
obsessed
idea.
with this problem.
Okay. In the interest of time, any other questions? Ali, you can tell that we're so excited to see this by the amount of questions and comments you're getting. So great job. I think
I got a question.
Yeah. Okay, Alex.
Yeah, Ali, do you think it'd be beneficial so you know, we post pictures of food and drinks, and I don't think that we've been doing any hashtags with any of that, but I'm sure think it'd be beneficial to be hashtagging Discover Moab on our food and drink posts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think that hashtag, any hashtag that has to do with Moab and tagging our account and just even location tagging too, that's all really useful. And then it'll help me see it too, and then I can repost it.
Also, Alex, I think we looked at CrowdRiff and we can dig into your CrowdRiff. I think we have the approval on that. We can go research that, but we should be doing that for everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. And did you say, is it better off if there are, let's say, folks that are not from Moab that are taking pictures of, you know, that user content versus people that are from Moab? Is there any difference there?
I don't think there's a difference there. I mean, usually when I am reposting someone's photo, I just tag their account. Mostly it's been a lot of like photographers who come by. But yeah, I don't think there's a huge difference in like locals versus people visiting.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, we'll certainly be doing that in the future.
Great.
Thanks, Ellie.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, we're going to be right back to Ali and Mick. Let's talk about Discover Moab. And just FYI, we have 15 minutes left in the meeting.
Great, we can go fast. This was included in your packet. I have printed as well if anybody wants. Project plan for the website. We are chugging along with developing the website with Simple View. The working group presented to this board, that was Matt in IT, Quinn, Ben. And what's in front of you is our project plan and calendar for rolling it out. It ends right now in June for the website launch. Everything in green we've achieved so far. I circulated the design system, which is a style guide, and homepage mock-up to this group. You'll see that in 5.2. So next we're going to have a proposal on our sitemap. The sitemap for a website is how this will be laid out. So the Simple View team is looking at our current website, they're looking at metrics on that site, and then they're going to make a recommendation about how to organize the new site. So we'll be making that presentation and then seeking approval for that. That's 6.2. That meeting, that presentation is next Tuesday, January 21st 9 a.m. We have a week to approve it. After we approve that on 7.1, the Simple View team, the design team, is going to show us what they call prototypes. This is going to be what a business page will look like. This is what itinerary will look like, and the various pages across the site. We have another week to approve that. That's 7.2 in writing. I just want to highlight how quickly all of this will be coming together in the next 3 weeks. The Simple View team is really going to be sending us a lot of stuff. We're going to be turning it over. And once we approve it, then they start to build the site. They're going to migrate all of our content. It's going to be put into all of these prototypes. And we won't have an opportunity to change those things. So after February 6th, if we were to change something, it would incur costs and be outside of our scope. So that's really going to be coming together here in the next few weeks. What else can I point out? On down, we don't see the site until number 9, CMS training, May 22nd. That's when we'll see it for the first time and start to give comments and work through what Simple View's put together before we go live in June. So that's my quick run through the project plan, and just wanted to give you guys that update.
One thing about this, these guys, Ali and Vic have put in a lot of hours on this. Coming from the tech world, can I tell you, to have a project this far in, to be on track, not delayed, is great. So it's following the plan, it's following the budget, so.
I had a question on the budget. That is, there's $25,000. Is that an annual fee that's going to be applied to this?
You know what, Brian, what we should do is we should go look to the contract, because when we got it approved, it shows the payment schedule. And there was an upfront, it was part of the award.
Yeah.
So I can answer that too, but I gotta go look at the contract.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
Because if I just pulled it out of my ear, I'd be wrong.
I just wasn't sure if that was a yearly, that 25,000 was a yearly, like, thing that we're going to be seeing.
And it's a 5-year window, so it's a 5-year.
Service contract?
Yeah, so it's a 5-year life. So I do know that, so. And the way the payment, there's the upfront and the development and then getting into the licensing every year, I believe.
Okay.
I have a question for y'all if you have a minute. I know we have only short time left. After the commission meeting last week, it seems like there was a lot of discussion around travel, council, economic development items. And I'm sure with Brian here, he can fill in the blanks here, Brian Martinez. I just want to make sure before those little deadlines happen that we're being consistent. Even though resolutions weren't made, I think they sent some pretty clear messages of the direction they wanted to head, and wanted to make sure that the website that we agreed to last year for payment had content that was consistent with what the commission was leaning towards for this year. And I'll let you and Brian discuss that and go mute.
Well, I don't think there's a content issue.
Right.
So like we're building a platform.
Yeah.
The content is coming. This isn't content dependent, so.
I would just say that the content that's currently on the site is being migrated over, but we can change this quickly. So if there's a particular page that we needed to, whether it's to be compliant with the resolution or just change for marketing purposes, these things are really easy to change in the website backend. But the content is being migrated from the current site, so.
Well, I'm glad you think that's easy, because that sounds hard to me. Thank you for saying it's easy. Good.
And I think one of the things is just kind of what you put up in the front and what you put in the back might have to change a little bit.
And just like, I haven't looked at the current webpage in a really long time, so.
You should.
I know.
You love the new site.
I know. I already love the new site, but I just think that point of like helping them on their journey instead of just pushing info to them all the time, you know, like asking that question as you look at content and navigation, what do you know, it's tricky because I have this challenge all the time because I sell really, really hard mountain bike trips and really, really easy mountain bike trips. And I have to kind of help, I don't want to scare off the easy people or the hard people to think that it's not going to be hard enough for them, right? And so we have the same thing, like there are people that want to come and have an experience here. And when we're treating all the customers like they're the same, we're missing an opportunity to go to, so it's a challenge, but there may be a way to think about as you're developing the content, like, how do we turn it around a little bit, make it about them? Like, this is your Moab. What is your Moab? Tell us more. What do you want to do? I want to see the Red Rocks. I want to be there when it's warm out. I want to have an adventure. I've always been dying to go on OHV or dying to go in a plane or whatever, like trying to, the thing that makes us different from every other community that is going after our customer right now is that we have everything and we have world-class experiences in every category. So if you say top 10 things to do in Santa Fe or Gallup, New Mexico, or wherever you're talking about, we just have, we are the winners. I mean, with raw material. So are we really doing justice to that raw material and conveying how much we have and how you can make a Moab trip amazing, lifelong memory for every single person from every type of person on the planet could have a lifelong memory in Moab.
Yes.
And so are we making sure we're inviting them all and is there a hook in there that'll be diverse enough to grab all these different folks?
Yeah.
And yeah.
I think something we're really aware of is that right now our Google Analytics, like our SEO is really good. And so a lot of people are coming to the homepage, but then they're leaving.
Yeah.
And so I think the new site is going to have a really streamlined user experience that encourages people to stay on it.
But by picking the thing they're interested in.
Right.
Like what is
That's actually a question I had, Ally.
Yeah.
Is how many levels deep are you guys going to be going with it? Right?
Like how many times do people have to
Well,
click
when
through?
you set, basically when you set up a web page, right, you go, how many categories deep are you going to be setting in? So, one thing I always find is the farther in that I have to go, the quicker you are to get out of there, right? So the shallower or the flatter that the website is, probably the better.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we have a sitemap meeting in 2 weeks, I think, or is it next week?
Next week.
Yeah, and so
you're on that point.
yeah, we're gonna be super aware of not making people click into more than like 3 pages tops. And right now it's really confusing and it's really hard to navigate. And so yeah, we really want it to be like people land on the site and they're like immediately can have their question answered, whether they're like, what is Moab? I just need an introduction, or if they're like, I have a very specific thing that I want to do in this town. And we want to be sure that either person only has to click around like twice to get the information that they want.
We want to make them feel like they're all invited, and I don't, you're right. We don't want to have a million categories, pick this, pick this, pick this. But we really got to keep working at making sure everyone's all invited, Moab, everyone. And how do we convey that? Like pictures of families, pictures of older people, pictures of gnarly dudes doing cool things. Like it's a challenge, but we have so much. And if that's where we really, we need to forget Durango, forget Chamonix. We need to be the winner. And we have the raw material to do it. And so this is a great opportunity to get one step closer to that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, there's a lot to say about all of that stuff. I think one thing to keep in mind is just the scope of this project, right? It's to update the technology and migrate the content, and having a functional and usable website that delivers compelling messages is kind of the scope.
Yeah.
And a little bit of what you touch on goes into kind of business planning, right? Which would touch everything that we do. Like who is our target audience? What are our personas? And we don't have that stuff. We've budgeted for that stuff. In the new year, we have like a rebranding effort and these sorts of things. But those would give us the kind of direction of who we're going after, how do we talk to them, and then measuring success. So I just want to make sure that we kind of set expectations on the scope of this, which is really just to get a good website that people are going to and can And
I'm just kind of curious. This is bringing up like lots of my head. Who has final say on this webpage?
I was wondering that too.
It's like who is going to be the end all,
Yeah.
say on this?
Remember, Brad, we're building a platform.
Right.
So it'll probably be the commission when we go, like, it'll be our campaigns, it'll be our brand.
But I think your question is this, we've hired a third-party vendor to provide this advice that develops websites for destinations. And we're relying on that vendor to deliver a product. And Allie and I meet with them regularly. We give them feedback on what works for us. So in that sense, we're shaping how this will look. But really, we're relying on SimpleView to deliver a product that makes us competitive.
And I think
it goes back to the contract.
Yeah, and I think that that's key in this whole thing, is like, we're kind of giving them a whole bunch of information. We're relying on SimpleView to move this information and organize it in a way that they have the expertise to say, hey, this is what's going to draw people in. This is where the draw is going to be, stuff to do that stuff. So I just want to.
I'll give you an example. So, for instance, right now, we don't have an itinerary building. But if that's something we want to propose to the commission, build it, that would be an add-on.
Yeah.
An AI add-on, there's tons of them. The beauty we have right now is we're with a vendor that is, it's kind of like the main vendor for DMOs. So we're in the platform realm of, we've got the right tool. It's like having the right raft on the river.
No, and I agree.
But for content stuff, this doesn't change. We're not in there creating our own website.
No, and I think I got that kind of perfectly. So it's like we got this main page that is covering a gamut of everything, and it's the top of the funnel. And I think it's a great goal that within 3 pages we're going to have it down to what that person wants, and I think that's pretty.
Yeah, it goes from the RFP
So I think
contract.
whether
You gotta
you're
do the persona work first, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because you really do, because that's gonna track what the itinerary should be based on the personas and get you a little further. But the great news is, the personas you end up defining, there is a person in Moab that embodies that
so you got to
persona
go to the Ford website
right
first.
here, that you can talk to.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
there's.
I'd also
Exactly.
say, this is the starting point.
Yeah.
Like websites are something that need to be nurtured and maintained. If you look at it, like the design, we kept it really simple, but if you do a rebrand, it's easy to reskin and bring into any future brand. And it's something that we need to manage over time and continue to develop. I would also caution against the expectation that 3 clicks and we're going to find what we're looking for. Again, we're looking to SimpleView to look at our current metrics and give us a recommendation on how to structure the site. A successful website is often measured on how long someone stays. So we don't necessarily want 3 clicks and go away. A lot of times you want to continue to engage. That's why you see links on the side of it. That leads to other content. And we're modernizing this stuff to try to engage people, connect them to content they're looking for. But it's just the tipping point.
And one thing to answer your question and build on what I just said, because it triggered it, is a really good thing is these guys in their project plan are sticking to the scope. There were points along the way where it's like, well, do you want to put your brand in here, or do you want to rebrand? It's like, no, we don't have that. So build the platform. So we have skipped certain places where we could have done something that would have just been scrambling, quick behavior versus strategic. Go to the commission. Do we put this on the platform, or do we go with the strategy?
Right. I guess that's what I was.
Yeah. So I mean,
in a roundabout way of saying, like, let's not get out the weeds. Let's get the.
That's why it's on schedule.
Let's find the field first.
Yeah. And that's why. And realize you're going from. It was great that we had someone that skunk worked something for 25 years. It was great, but you're going from very old technology to it's like having your old Sony Trinitron that weighs 1,000 pounds to a smart TV, right? It's like.
A little bit style again.
That's right.
So that's it. We'll continue to update you as we have more deliverables.
Great job.
Awesome. Thank you, Ally, Mick. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, any other last questions, comments?
Yes, I have one.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Lori.
So I know we're getting ready to wrap this meeting up and that Brian Hunnings is running it. And I just want to take a minute to thank him and Alex for the last year of leadership that I feel has been exemplary. And I really have actually, it's been really nice to make friendships with both guys as they lead us and help us be better. And I just can't thank them enough. And I want to wish Brian well in his new life and venture. And I'm going to commit to making a trip to Jackson to say hello. But
Y'all better
while
make a
we're
trip to Jackson.
yeah. Well, we're thanking Mary and everyone else, of course, too. But Brian, thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. It's been great serving with you guys.
That was gonna be my comment too, is I just want to say thank you, Brian, for all you've done and for being on the team. And while we lose one Brian, we get another Brian, so we're net on Brian's, but we are gonna miss you.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm worried that the food at Red Cliffs might not be as good if you're not there.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut on that. No, seriously, I just want to say how proud I am of every one of the board members that we've had this year, even those that have left early. You guys have rocked it. It's been a difficult year. Ben, you and your support and the team, Mick, Ellie, and Ben as well. Ben A, I really kind of feel like it was a hard year. We moved a lot of pebbles, but the mountain is kind of halfway moved. And Mr. Martinez, super excited to see you and what you're going to accomplish with this board. I really think that you guys are set up for success going into this year, and it's been a pleasure serving as the chair. Ironically, I do need to go to another travel council meeting in half an hour here in Jackson. So not involved yet. I'm just going to attend, but they do theirs from 6 to 9. So ironically, the same day I was like, I can't get away from this second Tuesday. But yeah, it's been great working with you guys. And yeah, I mean, there's two other, Ben was kind enough to put out the appointment of board chair and vice chair. Officially, Alex and I are done. I think it's only rightful that the new board that has been elected as of this meeting, I really think that, Alex or Lori, are both you two have all my support in the world. Rebecca, you as well. I know you like to kind of sit back and, working your way up to the more noisier people, but I think all three of you are amazing. Sharon, you as well. Any of you are capable of taking it into the next level next year or this year. And don't hesitate to reach out. Happy to support you guys any way I can and share best practices from Jackson.
Woohoo!
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. And absolutely too, you guys just remember the other item is selection of Economic Opportunity Advisory Board attendee for this year from this team. So once again, something the new board can decide at the next meeting. Ben Frederickville, Ben Alter. I just want to especially give you a round of applause as well for all your work behind the scenes and helping out. Certainly most appreciated. So
Where do we get the info for the Economic Advisory Board? I'm not sure what that's about.
Ben, you want to take that over?
Sure. Many meetings ago, we discussed having a representative from this board attend Economic Advisory Board meetings here and there, especially as we work on our revision to the general plan. Brian had volunteered to be that person. We actually haven't pulled him in yet, but we will be pulling someone from this board to just be in attendance. We already have the commission representative on that. Sorry, Brian Hunnings. But since Brian Hunnings is leaving the board, we'd like to find someone else, and we can discuss that once the board has got some new members.
Okay. That being said, any other questions, comments, go backs? No? Fantastic. Well, officially, I'm going to call it closed at 5:06 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. It was lovely working with you, beautiful people. Keep up the great work.
Yeah, I think Ben stay here.
Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Hey, do you guys need to elect a chair?
Yeah, don't we need to elect a
It's
chair?
for-
Vice chair?
I think it was set for next future.
I was told that we'd be able to do it next time because we're bringing on new members and we'd wait until there was a full board.
Oh.
Is Alex available to run the meeting next week?
I can't even remember.
You mean next month?
That's next month, yes, not next week. Are you okay chairing
Yeah.
next month? Okay.
Yeah, I
good.
can get with Ben and Ben and Ben, figure it out.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank
Will
you.
do. All right. We'll see you guys soon.
That's why I was saying, well, I was here, I have to have it.
You don't have a quorum and you don't have all the. Oh, right.